Hello everyone. I did some more research, learning more stuff. This book is called The School of the Prophets. In a series of skeleton sermon used for the public, in class meetings, and for private study. The School of the Prophets. Interesting title. So the question is, are we talking about true prophets or false prophets? Well, I couldn't make this book out, but it has to do with Jehovah's Witnesses. And it shows some false prophecies from this book. So why would a book talk about prophets when I found false prophecies from this prophet book? Very interesting. So if you're a Jehovah's Witness, you need to listen and to what I found in this book. Well, here's the chapters. Chapter 8, the second coming of Christ. What is a Christian? 10, the World Judgment Day. And number 13, well, let's go to 12. Man's everlasting home. I cut off the chapter 13, but this is 13. Man is now living, will never die. Now I'm going to take you right to that page and show you something very interesting. Page 44. Man is now living, will never die. Okay, I'm going to go to page 45. Page 45. Showing the Gentile times as the ending of 1914, which Jehovah's Witnesses is the only one teaches that. The Jubilee cycle lasted further of the law terminates, which terminate means end, in 1925. The 11 years, okay, you subtract 11 years from 1925 and you get 1914. Okay. Is the transitions period in which there is proceed. I'm not quite sure how to say that word. Trouble, and that it, the end of the age. So that's showing (1914). You add 11 years to that. You get 1925. Marks the end of the age. And what was they talking about? The second coming of the Messiah. And the 1,000 years reign. So that means they're saying in 1925, the 1,000 years of reign of Jesus Christ was supposed to start. Now you may ask, how do I know this is the Jehovah's Witnesses? Well, the Millions Now Living Will Never Die was written by Judge Rockford, and he was the one who wrote that book in 1920. And you see this right here, you got 1914, 11 years later, you get 1925. Or you can take 1925, subtract 11 years, you get 1914. I just saw something just caught my eye. Okay, remember we was talking about, this is talking about Jesus' second coming. Well, he says down here in A that his coming is thief-like to the unbelievers. Well, guess what, Jehovah's Witnesses? To the believers and the unbelievers in 1925, nothing happened. So the unbelievers did not believe it was going to happen, and the believers that believed that the Gentile times was going to end or terminate in 1925, it never happened. So wouldn't that make Judge Rockford and the Bible students in 1931, which that would be 5-6 more years, they turned to be Jehovah's Witnesses. They was taught that the end of the world was going to end in 1925. And here it talks about the Watchtower, the 7th volume of the Scriptures, studies, the pastor sermons, which this was Pastor Russell, in the news, paper, etc., in the convention, reports, etc. So this is talked about Charles T. Russell and the Watchtower. In case if y'all want to know, Talk about St. Paul, which at that time that's what they call him in one of the Bibles. Declares God spoke by the prophets. These representatives of Jehovah spoke in the power and majestic of his name. And their message were either begin or end with the formula, that's right, thus saith the Lord. So the proof I showed you is about 1a. This book is about Jehovah's Witnesses. They teach them how to be a prophet. But the prophet in this book is how to teach them how to lie. Because 1a, millions now living would never die, never happened. 2, 1925 was the end of the world. Jesus' second coming never happened. So when it never happened, that means nobody, well, everybody died. There was no one is alive to be millions now living would never die. So this is another book of false prophecy of 1925. One more time, just in case y'all doubt me. Page 45, the Gentile times as ending in 1914, the Jubilee cycle, which is this right here, last feature of the law, terminates in 1925, the 11 years, which you had 1914, 11 years, you get 1925. Intervene is transition period in which there is preceded, how you ever say that word, trouble, and that it marks the end of the age. Which this shows that the second coming of the Messiah and the 1,000 years presence of his reign. Priests and kings will be invisible. But the fun thing about it, the Bible says, every eye would see him. But here, they're saying he would be invisible. Another lie to Jehovah's Witnesses. I hope y'all enjoyed this. Here's 1914, 1925. What it was supposed to be all about? The second coming of the Messiah. Thank you and have a nice day.